Hey, bros, and thanks for coming out to Leafs Bros. It's always great to have you. 34 days till the NHL season starts here. So, 34 sleeps, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be Leafs versus Habs matchup. You know me, I always say, well, not always, but the next year, the Leafs need to bottom out. So, any loss is a good loss, but to start the year, screw the Habs. That's the story of being Leafs fans. Screw the Habs. So let's win that game. After that, we can bottom out. Because like I always say, we're going to move some guys to the deadline, and it'll be better then. Right now, we can mess the Habs up, which is half the story of being Leafs fans. So let's get with that. All right. So to start, I want to say, go Jays. It is great seeing Toronto fans being pumped about something. And I know we saw it earlier in the 2000 era there. We saw, we went to the conference finals against Carolina. It was all good. Things were looking good, but nothing has looked as good since then as the Toronto Blue Jays right now. They are looking like they're going to win the division, and things in Toronto are going to be dope. So everybody, get excited. The Jays are where it's at right now. And I love the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's nothing I love more than the Toronto Maple Leafs in the world. Nothing. But if the Toronto Blue Jays start going deep, I will be watching them over what the Leafs are putting out to start the year. And I'll watch every game. Don't get me wrong. I watch everything. I pay attention to everything that goes on. But the Toronto Blue Jays are where it's at right now. We got Donnie Smash, Josh Donaldson, which, I don't know, you might have your own bringer, rain, whatever you want to call him. The guy is awesome. He's the best athlete we've seen in Toronto in a long time. Jose Bautista, he's still there. Guy's killing it. He walks every other at bat, it seems like. It's awesome. But Toronto sports. When you're watching Toronto sports, you want to see a winner. Hasn't happened in a while, so let's all appreciate what's going on with Toronto Blue Jays. All right? So, 34 days until the Leafs make their appearance against the Habs. And like I said, I want to see us lose as many games as we can this year because we need to bottom out. This is the year. When Brian Burke came in, we wanted to lose as many games as possible, but he got Phil Kessel. So we all got this idea that Phil Kessel is going to save the franchise. But it doesn't always come down to one guy. And I say that because we got Mitch Marner, and the guy is going to be an absolute beauty for us. He's not just going to be all right. The kid's going to be a beauty. And we got Bill Nye, who's also looking like a beauty. We've got a lot of potential coming in, and the Leafs are going to be looking great going forward, as long as things keep rolling. We still got Morgan Riley, Stuart Percy, whoever else is going in there. So things are looking great. But what I want to say is there still needs to be a lot of potential, a lot of emphasis put on going forward with the draft and things. This isn't over. Things are going to be bad this year, and that's exactly the way we need it. We don't need to pick up guys that are going to play in the lineup. We need to play guys that are going to, well, they need to play in the lineup, but guys that aren't going to help us long term, which is what the Leafs management is doing right now. We've got P.A. Parento, Daniel Winnick, who I expect to be longer than P.A. Parento, Sean Matthias, we got Nazem Kadri, one-year deals. Things are going to be about this year. Put up points this year, hopefully not win too many games. And that's the way I see the Leafs working this year. We're going to be winning a lot of games. Sorry, not winning a lot of games. We're going to be playing a lot of games that are one-goal games. We're going to lose games that are going to be tight. So they'll be entertaining enough, but teams are going to beat us. And that's exactly what we need to do. We need to play this season competitively, but we need to play the puck possession, which is what Mike Babcock brings. We're going to be playing puck possession game where we play close games, but we lose. And that is totally fine right now because we've got a few guys in the lineup who could use the opportunity. Nazem Kadri, Morgan Riley, whoever else. Sean Matthias, like I said earlier. Things are going to be exactly the way it needs to go. And I know Kyle Dubas, Shanahan, and even Lou Lamoriello, he has bought into this. I know I was a little sour about Lou Lamoriello coming in to begin with, but he is going to be good to go. He believes in what's going on. He wants to win a championship in Toronto. 2012, he had his chance to win a championship, but nothing is like winning a championship in Toronto. And Steve Stamkos knows that, which I'll get on to later. But like I said, 34 days to the season, we're going to be good to go. So what I want to say, first of all, there's been a lot of talk about jersey advertisements, whether they want to put jerseys with advertisements from corporations on it. And I don't buy it. I buy that it's going to come into professional sports eventually, and I know it's in the KHL or overseas or whatever. And Bettman said himself that it's not coming yet, and he'll have to go kicking and screaming for it to happen. But with Bettman, we always know that what he says isn't exactly what's going on. So while I see the NHL not being the first league to do it, I believe it's coming eventually, and it kills me because NHL jerseys, they're the sexiest thing there is out there. And I know maybe other people disagree with me, but when you look at an NHL jersey, you look at the history behind it, the teams that have battled. I love all sorts of sports. I watch baseball, I watch football, whatever. Nothing endears me like the NHL because it's the toughest trophy to win in the world. You can give your heart and soul to win that trophy, and you won't give it. And I know that's any sport, but you look at baseball, you look at NFL, you got to win one game to get through the next round. But the NHL is all about 7-game series, grind it out, 28 wins. It's never easy. And for some reason that endears me to the jersey. And you look at these jerseys, you got corporations on it. Like that ruins it. You look at the KHL, whatever they have, it's not it. Like you can't appreciate it for what it is. The NHL right now is heart and soul of the team, the players. I love it. So we can't be doing that. Like I said, I believe it's going to happen at some point. I hope that Bettman keeps his balls about it. I don't know if he will. It might take a few years, but at some point it's probably coming. But we need to fight this. We need to tell them that this is no good. NHL jerseys are number one in the sports world. I know I'm wearing a dope Blue Jays jersey, which is also cool, but at some point, all professional sports might end up with it, and I don't agree with that. We've already got enough professional sports with corporations, with their say, they name all the arenas, they've got it all over the boards or whatever. We don't need it on the jerseys. I don't know what you guys have to say. You tell me about it, but I don't like it. All right, so we're talking about the rookie tournament. Toronto Maple Leafs, every year they have a rookie tournament, and it's a good time. If you get a chance, they're playing in London this year. They'll be playing at the Budweiser Gardens, I believe it's called. It used to be a different name there. The Ice House before they moved there. But Friday night, the Senators and Leafs will be having a game. And then Saturday against the Habs. And then the Sunday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So if you get a chance to make it out to that, check it out. I've been to a couple of them. It's awesome to see the young guys go. It's the future of the franchise, right? Like, I've seen lots of players come through that end up being Toronto Maple Leafs. And, it's a good experience. All the games will be at 7:35, whether it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So check it out if you got the time or whatever. So, yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about is Patrick Kane. There's a lot of rumors about Patrick Kane right now and whether he'll be a Chicago Blackhawk, because there's been a lot of talk about his current rape trial, and I don't want to speculate as to what Patrick Kane has done or what he hasn't. But I can tell you this about Patrick Kane. Everything you hear about the guy is no good. There was the talk about him punching out a cabbie with his cousin, I think it was, over 50 cents or something. He likes to party, and we all like to party, don't get me wrong. I like to party. But look at this guy. This guy's a party boy, and I can see, I don't want to speculate on what he does or whatever. And Jonathan Toews has got his back. He said he's his teammate, and no matter what happens, he's his teammate. And until then, that's fine. But I've never had a lot of respect for the guy to begin with, so I can't blame anybody for what they have to say about him. But we'll see what the court has to say about what's going on there. Like, just look at the guy. He likes to party. I like to party too, but there's a certain level that you got to keep it at, especially when you're a professional athlete. And a guy like Nazem Kadri, who I know likes to party because I lived in London, and I won't go into specifics about it, but it's okay to party. It's okay to get it on, but you don't have to go raping anybody, which is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying Patrick Kane did that, but the way Patrick Kane likes to party and the way he presents himself in the public, there's a lot of talk about it. Which is what I'm saying. The Toronto Maple Leafs are in a position where they're looking for a top player. And I don't know. Well, I wouldn't say I don't know. I know that's not the way the Leafs want to go about it. They're drafting good now. They're developing their guys with the Marlies. This year, we've got a lot of guys that are on one-year deals, and we're going to peddle them for picks at the deadline. We got Matthias. We got Parento. Kadri's on one-way deal, but I don't see him. I don't know if Kadri gets moved. Like, I see at the deadline Parento and some other guys getting moved. Daniel Winnick just signed on, and as we saw, Pittsburgh picked him up at the deadline because he's a valuable guy. He plays bottom six. He gets her done. So I can't blame anybody for that move because that's what the Leafs need to do right now. Like Kyle Dubas said, the more picks the Leafs get, the better they're going to have a chance at a home run. Like, if you get a bunch of picks, you can get some home runs. So we're picking up these guys like P.A. Parento, Daniel Winnick, Sean Matthias. And if they work out, sure, we'll sign them again. But most of those guys, I don't see it happening. The Leafs know what's going on. They're signing guys. Well, not signing guys. They're drafting guys like Mitch Marner, Dermott. They got Kasperi Kapanen from the Phil Kessel deal. So we're going to slowly go about this, which is what needs to happen this year. Because the way the NHL goes these days is you have to draft high. You have to get guys that are going to be top players. You can pick in guys to fill your roster, but you need to get the top guys. And I feel like right now, Mitch Marner is one of those guys. Bill Nye, William Nylander. Bill Nye is what I like to call him. A lot of people. He'll be a good player. So, you get the picks, you do what you can, and you go with it. So the next thing I want to talk about here is Lou Lamoriello. And I know anybody who watches Leafs Bros regularly knows that Lou Lamoriello wasn't my favorite guy to pick up. It was a shock to Leafs Nation when he did come in. Oh boy. But think about Lou Lamoriello. He's been around the league a long time, and there's a lot of respect for him around the league. And I read something in the Players Tribune about Bryce Salvador. He was the captain of the New Jersey Devils. And he took a slap shot to the head, I believe. And he spent a lot of time with ringing in his ears. He's having what he thought was concussion problems. And it turned out to be, don't quote me on this, but like nervous system problems, issues with his eyes, ears, and feet. Like together it makes a system. So he went and he talked to Lou Lamoriello and he said he wasn't feeling great about it. And Lou said, you take as much time as you need. And Bryce said that he was amazed at how good Lou was about it. And I know I bitched about Lou Lamoriello coming here. But, and I know with Berkey we talked about it where the Leafs players are happy to play for him and he's a good guy, they'll go to bat for you. And I understand a lot of GMs do that, but this is one-on-one where Lou told the guy, you take as much time as you need. And he knew he's a serviceable player on his team, and he let him go. And Bryce said he is very thankful to Lou for that, and I believe that because Lou's been around the game for a long time, and he knows what's going on. He might not always make the greatest decision, he has made a lot of great trades in that. But Bryce believed in Lou. Well, I don't want to say after that, but Lou told him what's going on, or he told Lou what's going on, and Lou accepted it. And Lou told him, take all the time you need and do what you got to do to get healthy. And Bryce really accepted that. And when Mike Babcock says that Toronto needs to be a place where players can play and where they can be safe, I believe that's part of what Lou's vision is. Because you can have a great player and you can do this and that. And I look at like Kovalchuk in Atlanta or Hossa in Atlanta or whatever. You can be a great player on a great team, but you need to have the full team behind you and management. And great teams make great runs. And that is what I saw in Chicago. When you look at, Taze and Kane, Keith, and whoever they had there. But you look at their GM there. Chicago was great. They're a great team. Everything went well, and they won the Stanley Cup. And that's what I want for Toronto. And I believe Lou brings that. And while I don't necessarily agree that Lou is what the Leafs needed at this point, where Shanahan and Dubas and Hunter were going, I believe he brings some calm to the organization, and players will appreciate playing for Lou. So that's where it is. So I want to talk about some viewer questions here. Morty Sanchez follows me on Twitter. Great guy. He has a few questions for me. Follow him. Morty Sanchez, 67 or something like that. Swear, Morty. His first question is Stamkos coming to Toronto? And my first response is yes. I know that sounds like an outlandish thing to say, but you look at how the Tampa Bay management is dealing with this. They've got guys they got to deal with, like Killorn and whoever else there. I can't think of their names, but they've got guys they got to make deals with. Tampa Bay is a talented club, and Steve was definitely the mainstay of that team. He plays center. He's got a dirty shot. He can play the power play. He can do anything. This is exactly what Toronto needs. And he's a Markham, Ontario boy, which is exactly what we need. And I know if you watched Leafs Bros before, you know I've been saying that the Leafs need Steve Stamkos. I know it's easy to say the Leafs need Steve Stamkos. But Steve brings more to the club than just being exceptional center. He's great at center. He's got the one-timer on the power play. He's a great person. I lived in Sarnia. I was going to school. I used to watch Steve Stamkos nightly when he played in Sarnia there. I got pretty drunk. I'm not going to lie. I drank a lot of Caesars. My buddy who's helping me out here, Goat, we had a few drinks there. We watched Steve Stamkos on the nightly, and he was phenomenal. He does everything you want out of a player. He's a good team player. He plays good on the PP. He can dish the puck, but mostly he's got that one-timer. And I know everybody loves Phil Kessel on the power play. But Steve Stamkos brings more to the power play than Phil Kessel could dream of. And I don't wish anything ill on Phil Kessel because I feel like Phil wanted to succeed here. He wasn't as good of a player as I'd hoped he would have been. Defensively. Offensively, Phil's got everything you want. He can shoot. He's a good disher. Whatever. Phil, nothing wrong there. But Steve Stamkos... Sorry, Marty. When you ask me if Steve's coming to Toronto, I say yes, because I look at the situation in Tampa Bay. They don't have him signed yet coming to the season. They've got other guys they have to sign. They got to figure their stuff out. Steve's going to be asking double digits. Wherever he goes, Steve's going to get double-digit numbers. And I feel like Toronto, we've got guys on one-year deals that are going to be expiring. We're going to move a couple. Pierre Parenteau. I feel like if Joffrey Lupul has a good year, he could be moved. And I don't know if that's for sure. but he's going to be available if they don't get anything done. I feel like a lot of players over the year, they say, well, if I don't get signed, I'll wait till the next summer and see if anything happens. And once you hit the summer, it's very tempting to hit free agency because you got teams throwing money at you. And Steve Stamkos, well, everybody throwing money at him. Everybody. Anybody who can afford it. And I'm not going to name names, but you think about teams like Philly who will throw every player to the wind to sign who they want. But Steve's from Markham, Ontario, and like Babcock and Shanny and Doobie have said, sorry guys, they want this team to feel safe. And I don't know if that means picking up players around the area. I know for a long time, Ontario is a hotbed of hockey. We put out so many players that are decent, and Toronto wants to be that team. And which brings me back to Lou Lamoriello earlier. He goes to bat for players. And I know we had Berkey before who goes to bat for players. But this team is different now. We're in a rebuilding stage. And I know Steve wasted the summer. So we have this year, we can bottom out. Like I said, I want to beat the Habs first day. But after that, I think we need to just bottom out, lose what we can, and tank. You look at Chicago. Chicago tanked. They won the Stanley Cup. If you win the Stanley Cup in Toronto, you are a god. You are a god. There's nothing else to it. You will never have to pay for a meal again. And I know paying for meals isn't a big thing to athletes because they're Steve Stamkos making $10 million a year. But you don't have to worry about anything again. You can lose every game for the rest of your life. And you win the cup in Toronto, it doesn't matter because you won the cup in the Mecca. This is the Mecca. And I always say this. No matter how bad the Leafs do, we can finish last place. We are always number one. Because the Toronto Maple Leafs are the center of the hockey universe, and anything that happens to them is all over the news. We can lose every game. We can suck and whatever, but the Toronto Maple Leafs will always be relevant. And I know corporate interests and fans don't agree with that. They might, but you know what I mean, to a degree. But if Steve Stamkos comes here, he knows that ride that he took in Tampa Bay when he got to the finals will never be close to what it would be in Toronto. Because in Toronto, everything's different. Everything's magnified 20%, not 20%, 20 times. And everything will be greater. And Steve knows that. Everybody who's a Leafs fan knows that. And it's time to happen. So, Morty, when you ask me, do the Leafs get Steve Stamkos? If he doesn't sign in Tampa Bay, I guarantee it. You got a Leafs Bros guarantee that Steve Stamkos is coming to Toronto. All right, so with the next question here. Will any guys with a 1-year deal get an extension? I love this picture of Nazi. That's Nazi right there. That's Nazi. I don't care what people have to say about Nazi. He wants to do it in Toronto. London, Ontario boy. He wants to win. And I know it's easy to look at Nazi and say that Nazi's not a winner. But Nazi won it in London. Nazi knows what's going on. He moved to Kitchener. The thing about Nazi is he's got this swagger. I know when Dion Phaneuf came, we all talk about swagger, this and that. But Nazem Kadri, he played second fiddle to Tyler Bozak. And with every coach, he's always had this Nazi's got to prove himself thing. And I agree, Nazi does have to prove himself. But Nazi's never been put in a position to do it. And we had the 48-game season. He's a 20-game player. It was all good. I know he kind of regressed over that, but we have Tyler Bozak here. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind Tyler Bozak. He's not a great player. He's not the number one C we need. So I would like to see Nazi take starter's role to that. And I think Babcock sees that too, because Babcock's the kind of guy that says you work for it. You do it, you get her done. I think Nazi's working for it. I just don't know how it's going to work out for Nazi because, like I've said in previous things, the media is really hard on Nazi. He's tough. But look at this guy. He wants to win. Nazi wants to win. Nazi's not out there floating like we've seen Phil Kessel float or other guys float. He wants to win. He's had a season where he's had decent points. I know he gets in a little trouble, dipsy-doodling around the blue line. But the guy has potential. He's got heart. He's still young enough that it doesn't matter. And what I say about the Leafs all the time is there's lots of time right now. We have time to take an experiment for 2 years. If Steve doesn't come, it's not a big deal. Like, Nazi can have a year or two to fill it out. I know we only have Nazi on a 1-year deal, so it's going to be tough. But I think he can do it. Yeah, like, it's a 1-year deal. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. Like, he's got the potential to do it. He's going to put it together when he's put it. The thing is, we're looking at a rough season. We're looking at wingers. We still have JVR. Other than JVR, we don't have a lot of talented wingers. We got Nazi, and then we got Bozak. And one of them's got to play with JVR. So I feel like they're going to kind of mix it up. You know, Babcock's the kind of guy who's going to give everyone a chance. If you work hard and you go out there for him, he's going to let you battle. And Nazi, I think he has the battle. I'm not saying Bozak doesn't. Bozak seems like a genuine kind of guy, but I don't think he has the skill that Nazi has to throw it out there. So that's what I got to say about Nazi. Who has a breakout year this year? That's another viewer question. As you can see here, my choice is Morgan Riley. And I don't want to say I only believe that because Morgan Riley is, well, a beast. He's a stud. Morgan Riley's a stud. There's nothing else to say about it. If he was in a better position, Morgan Riley would just be killing it. Right now, looking at this lineup, other than Dion Phaneuf, Morgan Riley is the only guy who's going to be our top D-man. And I love him for it. Like, you can't say enough about Morgan Riley. Every now and again, he might have a bit of a brain fart, but it's no Jake Gardner brain fart. Like, Jake Gardner, I'll cough in the middle, but Morgan Riley, this guy plays solid. He can rush it up ice. He's got a shot on the PP. He can do everything you need him to do. So Morgan Riley is my man. If you're asking me who is going to be the guy for this year, Morgan Riley. He's going to have a career year. Look at this guy right here. Career year. I'm telling you right now. I know the Leafs are going to play a bit of possession hockey. They got Lou, who came from the Devils, who will probably emphasize on that being how it is. But Mike Babcock, who came from Detroit, loves possession hockey. And that's the kind of team we're going to have. And I know we're going to lose a lot of games by 1 goal. But when you look at this team, there's not enough skill to win games by multiple goals. So we're going to win by 1 goal, lose by 1 goal. Mostly lose by 1 goal. I think 3 seconds ago I might have said that win by 1 goal, but I mean we're going to lose by 1 goal, and that's perfect what we need to do. Just grab another beer here. But when I talk about this Leafs team, what it's all about is development. Well, that's good there. But it's development. When you look at NHL teams, and like I said, Chicago, they took a lot of time. They had blackout eras where they couldn't even watch their games because their team was so bad. No one showed up in person, and they were blacking them out. And I know that would never happen in Toronto. I know people want to tell the Toronto management that that's not how this is going to be. But this is how it is. You got to bottom out, and this is going to be the year. We got Matthias, Parento, a bunch of guys we brought in on one-year deals, and we hope we move at the deadline. And if you can't move at the deadline, you let them walk. Or if they're worth it, you sign them up. Which goes back to Morty's question there. I believe that Sean Matthias is going to be signed. Because he's a younger guy, bigger body, he plays center. And right now, we have nobody else that's ready to do that. Until Mitch Marner or Bill Nye take center, nobody's going to come into this lineup. Well, eventually someone's going to come into this lineup, but I mean, you know what I mean, the next year. So we're going to let it roll. We're going to let Nazi do his thing. We're going to let Matthias do his thing. Parento. We're going to make the trades at the deadline. And like Dubas said, the more picks you have, the better chance you have at a home run. And that's how it is. And as I always say, no matter where the Toronto Maple Leafs are in the standings, we're always number one. Always number one, all right, boys? So, not going to be an easy year, but it's how it's going to go. Thanks for coming out, Leafs Bros, everybody. Share, tweet, subscribe, do your thing.